providing a new way for consumers to pay at online stores, sharing how they allow consumers to buy online quickly and safely. Welcome, Paidy CEO and co-founder Russell Kummer. Russell, over to you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Hi there. Thanks, Charles. Hi, everybody. Okay, great. So I don't know if 8 minutes is going to be long or short for this, so let's. I hope you'll bear with me and we go through. So as Charles kind of said, I'm Russell. I'm the co-founder and group CEO of Paidy. Paidy is an instant post-pay credit service in Japan. What does that mean? So meet Paidy. Paidy is a mobile, fast, and secure way of shopping online, and that will at some point be extended to shopping in the real world as well. It is an instantly issued post-pay credit account linked to your mobile phone number. It is not carrier billing. It is not a mobile wallet. It is an entirely new incremental credit line that we issue to consumers. It's easy checkout with your mobile number. There is no sign-up required. We'll touch on this a little bit later in the speech, but our philosophy from a product standpoint is Fintech is really all about creating new consumer experiences. And oftentimes, a new consumer experience is removing steps from existing behavior. So there is no sign-up for Paidy. There's no card number for Paidy. There's nothing to do. You just use your mobile phone number, and you're ready to go. So no credit card is ever required. Paidy is the credit account. We offer installment repayments. It's available to over 100 million consumers in Japan, and it works on all carriers, including MVNOs. When we look at the macro environment in Japan, the reason that we launched a service like Paidy is that there's some very unique things in the Japanese economy. Despite Japanese consumers having 3.2 cards per person on average, nearly half of online sales are completed with a cash payment method, like cash on delivery, prepayment, post-payment by invoice. And there's all sorts of interesting cultural reasons for that. So what we've tried to do with Paidy is create a consumer experience that is as easy as cash on delivery at checkout, but then is as powerful as a credit card every moment thereafter. What does that mean? If I do cash on delivery at checkout, I don't need to input anything. There's no card number, there's nothing. I just say COD and I'm done. Equally, I don't sign up to use COD, right? So Paidy has kept all of those as key features. There's no sign up for Paidy, there's no secret card number, it's just your phone number. However, cash on delivery is extremely troublesome at every moment after checkout. You need to be home. If you're not home, the transaction breaks. That's terrible for merchants as well. So what we've tried to do is combine the best of both worlds in our product design. At checkout, it's as easy as COD. At every moment thereafter, it's as powerful as a credit card. And what do I mean by that? I mean we have full feature parity, so it's a single monthly bill that you pay once for all of your shopping. It has installment credit. It works for subscriptions and recurring billing. Works for digital contents, and it's unique in the market in Japan. On the merchant side, there is a tremendous increase in revenue that comes from this. There's no breakage, as there would be for up to 45% of their business if they were reliant on COD. Paidy has proven amazing at getting new customers. You can understand the consumer doesn't need to do anything that is terribly troublesome to check out. They just input their phone number and they're good to go. And we see same store, same month repeat buying is significantly higher with Paidy consumers than with other consumers. On the consumer side, frictionless checkout, as we've touched on, no credit info risk. There is nothing in the transaction that is sensitive or can be stolen. There's just a phone number as a credential between us and them, and then card-like convenience. A single monthly bill. If you do COD 10 times in a month, you have to wait at home 10 times to pay 10 times. If you shop with Paidy 10 times in a month or 100 times in a month, there's just a single bill to settle, which is quite unique in our market. So the bills are simple and easy to pay. Paidy is entirely paperless. So we issue your monthly consolidated bill by SMS and email. It can be paid nationwide at more than 100,000 convenience stores, or by bank transfer, or paperlessly, consumers can link their bank account so that it auto-debits all of their monthly activity. And again, uniquely, you don't need to settle all of your balance at once. We're very happy to allow consumers to split their purchases into installment payments over time. which millennials in general have an interesting reaction to, where split purchase is seen as a sort of an intelligent way to do some budgeting. On the merchant side, we eliminate significant merchant bottlenecks. There is no breakage. Paidy assumes all of the risk and guarantees payments to the merchant 100%, exactly analogous to accepting credit cards. Equally, because we have this ongoing relationship with the consumer, it's very simple to do a refund to a Paidy consumer in a way that is not true for other non-card payment methods. Again, back to the example of cash on delivery. If you return goods that were purchased on cash on delivery, it's not like the delivery guy comes back, takes your sneakers, and gives you the money. There's this entire chain of fulfillment and finance, logistics that need to happen to reverse that transaction. With Paidy, it's instant. It's exactly the same as a credit card. Through the Paidy API, charges can be reversed, and the merchant can go and process the flow exactly as they would for a credit card. Paidy also has proven to increase average order value. Paidy is incrementally new credit that's being issued to consumers. So consumers are able to take advantage of that to purchase more than they would if they were confined to the cash that they have on hand to do a cash on delivery transaction. And last but not least, Paidy is amazing at new customer acquisition. Again, if you look in Japan, the number one payment method actually for new customers, despite the fact that everybody in Japan has credit cards, is cash on delivery. There is reluctance to use a card in an initial transaction with the merchant. You don't know if you like the goods. You don't know how well the merchant is going to take care of your information. It feels, in the context of our market in Japan, much simpler to just go ahead and do a cash on delivery transaction. Paidy removes all of those barriers, right? There is no associated friction of having to input a card. There's no mental burden of worrying about security. And equally, there's no need to be committed to being at home at a certain period of time in order to complete the transaction. So Paidy is great for getting first-time consumers. At all of the merchants that we see across the Paidy network, Paidy tends to be either the number one payment method for new consumers or has the largest share of new consumers amongst payment methods. Okay. So that's Paidy. Sort of the mandate for the Growth Summit is to speak a little bit about broader trends and broader philosophy. So I touched on this before. Our philosophy is really that fintech is not about creating necessarily anything new. It's about combining the existing ingredients that exist in the financial system in unique ways to create new consumer experiences. So if you look at actually specific to Paidy, what we have done is everybody already understands e-commerce and shopping. Everybody understands checking out with a credential. It could be a credit card number or something else. Everybody understands monthly consolidated post-pay, installments, recurring billing, all of that. What we have done is we've identified that actually removing the sign-up and all of the other friction points as much as possible in order to facilitate the use of Paidy, and in particular a first use of Paidy, is really what's become our unique value add in the market and allowed us to scale as rapidly as we have. So again, Paidy is all about instant credit, and I think that that's really important. And again, fintech should really be unique. The other trend that we wanted to touch on as well, again with the mandate of the Growth Summit stage, I think it's really fascinating to see that actually there is an aspect whereby as you start to scale any sort of service where you have a trusted relationship with consumers, there is an opportunity, as Grab touched on at the opening session with Grab Platform, as I'm sure you'll hear from various different people throughout the remainder of the conference today, there is this trend which is starting with one set of services. And in our case, it's instant post-pay credit. But that customer relationship actually should be served across other different either form factors in the case of payments. So for example, extending to payment in the real world, or other repayment types like we do with the multi-pay installment. But then you can obviously see that extension like SimpleSurance and these guys do, where you can actually service this same customer with an insurance product. On the merchant side, obviously Square Capital and some of the other work that Stripe and other folks are doing to provide working capital in addition to what they're doing on the payment side, risk and fraud solutions, online, offline. So I think that these are themes that certainly are playing out in the strategic planning that we're doing with Paidy, but are actually broader themes in the market that I think are worth touching on. And again, as I say, we're following this trend. You'll see in the coming quarters and years on our side, we see real opportunities to service consumers in the Paidy way, right? Frictionless. Removal of whatever is the problematic barrier, be it either mental or actual mechanics of how to opt in or take advantage of services. We want to continue to extend that philosophy across other use cases and other products for our consumers, at the same time as growing our existing acceptance network online and offline in the real world. Given that this is a conference, we'll just spend 10 seconds to say two things. The first is, obviously, we've been very lucky to have support from great investors to build Paidy up to the stage where we are now. And as we get ready to go and enter into our next stage of growth, we are actually announcing today that we've closed our Series C. So we're raising $55 million to continue the growth of our business in Japan with a view to also some regional expansion. We were very gratified that round was led by Itochu. So Itochu is a very large trading conglomerate in Japan that was one of our existing investors. And then we've also added Goldman Sachs as a new investor in this round. It brings our total funding to date for Paidy to $80 million. I think the opportunity is very, very big for what we're doing. I don't think it's limited to Japan. I think this philosophy of creating instant gratification, instant access, instant utility to consumers is really what's been missing in finance, right? Think about the last time you signed up for a credit card. Think about the last time you bought insurance. The utility is there, but it isn't instant. And the Paidy way is to really make it as instant as possible across as many different pain points as we can identify for our consumers. And last but not least, it's very important for a scaling company. We would love to have talented people come and join us. So that's our careers website. So please check us out. Thanks again. よろしくお願いします。